Hi there and welcome. I am very happy that you are joining me here at Sovereign Voices. I'm Renee Dubois, the host, the founder, the creator, and I can tell you that it's so easy for me to use my voice and inspire you so that you can use yours. Sovereign Voices is all about people with a voice and no platform, or platform but no voice. In this episode, I've entitled it Universal Basic Income, a Global Feasibility Study. Now, let me tell you where I'm going with this. Donald Trump said recently that 65% of Americans were fools. That's a quote. He further stated that Americans were not educated enough or qualified enough to do the jobs in the United States, and therefore foreigners needed to be brought in. I don't know what is going on in the man's head, but saying that is the reason I've created this broadcast. Now, look, in an age of AI automation, economic volatility, and widening inequality, especially in the United States under Donald Trump and his administration, universal basic income, better known abbreviated as UBI, has become a global conversation, and it is truly feasible, or is it just idealistic? I think it's a combination of both. Again, I wanted to create this broadcast to address his comments and to empower, encourage, inform, educate, info form, or there's a lot of words coming to my head, and I'm not saying them as rapidly as I'd like, but allow me to dissect the feasibility of UBI through three critical lenses. And I'm not going to get so deep that you won't understand it, or not pushing that you lack intelligence, but sometimes as speakers or presenters, I've watched programs that just go too deep and people are not sure where they're coming from. So here's my first point: economic capacity. Can nations afford it, or can they afford not to? Can your country, wherever you are, afford not UBI? Here's another point: technological distribution. Can blockchain and fintech enable seamless UBI at scale? Here's what I'm asking. I own a startup that is blockchain originated fintech for the unbanked. And I'm starting to see and hear a lot of things that people are saying, or some experts, that they think is corrupt or a Ponzi scheme as it relates to crypto, Bitcoin, and all these things. But UBI has a specific purpose. Let's talk about my third point: moral clarity. Is UBI, a right or a reward? Are you rewarded for the work you do or that you want to do? I want you to know that this is not just a feasibility study of wallets. In other words, what you make, what you don't make. And I feel this episode is quite timely. It is a feasibility study of will. The will that is happening with people not only in the United States, but all over the world. As you know, I've lived in more than 40 countries around the world, and as a diplomatic envoy, I'm in different countries every month. The key global challenges that I've explored and that I've seen, in my personal and professional opinion, is that UBI pilots in Kenya, in Finland, and the US, you need to know what worked and what failed in those three countries. It doesn't mean that it would fail in the country where you are, wherever that may be. But let me, excuse me, give you a good example. Why the unbanked are excluded from most UBI proposals. Now, if you follow me, you already know that my entire platform is all about the unbanked, the financially excluded, and why they are excluded, and why I created a platform known as Excel Mine. I talk a great deal about how crypto and my platform that launches very soon here, known as Excel Mine Solutions, can solve last mile delivery issues. Now, there are a lot of wonderful companies out there that have solutions to the UBI problem. I'm trying to just give you the surface understanding of UBI and then come back with, shall we say, a series of broadcasts that go deeper and help you to understand. But listen, this doesn't mean that it's guaranteed laziness or that it's guaranteed liberation. How does or can UBI disrupt traditional power structures, and why some governments resist? I'm only trying to present in this episode questions for you to ponder, questions for you to ask, seek answers. And when I come back with additional information on the series, you'll have a better idea of why UBI is very important. But let me get a little deeper, shall we say. I look up a lot of times because I'm thinking one thing and I'm yet at a higher thought in my own head, looking to pull down the higher thought versus the current one that's right here. So let's talk about what exactly is UBI. It's a guaranteed income to every citizen unconditionally. Black, white, Chinese, Indian, doesn't matter. It removes the shame and the bureaucracy of welfare systems. So why then would that be a problem or an issue for some countries? Well, take a look at what's happening in the United States right now with Donald Trump and the GOP and his administration, and how they are purposely and intentionally holding back SNAP benefits to feed the poor, how they burned 800 tons of food to feed the poor in other countries. Let me give you another question to ponder. What makes it feasible or not? And I'm referring to UBI, Universal Basic Income. Is it physical space? Can a country finance UBI without collapsing? How about economic restructuring? Can UBI as a stimulus or be presented as a stimulus for local economies? What about political will? Do you think governments serve people or capital? I'll tell you, in the United States, under the current government, they serve capital, not the people. If they serve the people, the mess that's going on right now in the United States wouldn't be going on. So the US, Argentina, and countries like that with authoritarian leaders, they serve capital, not the people. Here's another thing I'd like you to think about. Crypto plus blockchain as an enabler. Too much coffee, huh? Smart contracts automate disbursement and transparency. Now, you may not know what smart contracts are, and that will come up in my future broadcasts, but it bypasses banking barriers, it meaning smart contracts through blockchain. It bypasses banking barriers, vital for the 1.7 billion unbanked. Now, my company's Excel Mind platform as a prototype for this future or for the future, I can tell you right now, boom, it's powerful and it's going to rock nations, but in a good way. Let's talk about briefly the psychological shift from scarcity to security. People don't want to stop working. That's the fear they have with automation, with AI, artificial intelligence. They want to start creating. But can mental health be improved? Will violence drop? Can dignity rise up? Question number 5 for you to ponder. Who opposes UBI? Is it you? Is it your government? Who opposes UBI, Universal Basic Income? And why the bloody hell do they oppose it? Elites fear loss of labor control. That's what so-called Doge under Elon Musk was all about. Just completely ruined this nation. Democrats will have to get back into control of the House, the executive branch, and the Senate just to correct this crap. But look, traditional welfare systems fear being irrelevant. And that's what's happening right now with SNAP, EBT, under the current administration. Lastly, I want you once again to remember the mantra I've given you so that every day that you live, breathe, work, and enjoy life the best you can at the highest level that you can. Remember, don't wait for things to change to speak. You speak to make the change. I want you to join the conversation and tell me, what would you do if your basic needs were met every month, no matter what? Now, there's some countries like the UAE, single women get a basic income every month to live, to take care of themselves, and it's brilliant. There are other countries that do that kind of thing. So what would you do with a guaranteed income every month? You know, there are people who get a lot of, they win lotteries, make millions of dollars, and within a few months, less than 6 months, they're broke. So think about what you would do with guaranteed income every month. Share it with us so that we can incorporate it in our future broadcasts on universal income. Thank you for watching. I'm Renee Dubois. This is Sovereign Voices. I hope all is well. I'm here to touch, heal, and inspire you. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Bonne journée. Au revoir.